trying to change what I've been trying to say. Words don't come straight from my head to my mouth. It's such a shame that it fell out of place. Was never me that was bringing you down. Why we always looking for more? Why we always looking for more? Why we always looking for more? Always looking for more. Why we always looking for more? Why we always looking for I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted.
Just the same. We ignore the ways and we ignore the fight. We need a miracle. We need a miracle. We need a miracle. We don't care when you call our name. We don't care. We are just the same. We ignore the ways and we ignore the fight. We need a miracle. We need a miracle. We need a miracle.
Only 3 races remain in the regular season until we will know for absolute certainty what 10 teams will be battling for this season's championship in the upcoming playoffs. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Seth Cole, and welcome to the third to last race of the season here, race number 24 of the 5th season of the NNSCRA Duracell Cup Series, as we are at the Tricky Triangle Pocono Raceway. 3 corners, 3 entirely different corners, 2.5 miles in length, and more than likely, based off of prior history, a race that could fall one of 2 ways, either a race of survival or a race of strategy. And it really is all going to depend on just how aggressive these drivers are going to be. Pocono is a very complex racetrack, if you will, and these drivers have to really tackle the differences of those corners that I mentioned here at this particular racetrack, and they maybe don't have to worry as much about each other, because if they do, and they lose focus on this racetrack will get them. That's why it's strategically placed where it is, just near the end of this regular season, when really you have to be at your absolute best to be in playoff form. But these drivers here today, they will prepare for 50 laps of racing here at Pocono Raceway, and we will be in just a few moments, getting these drivers rolling off of the long pit road. But before we do that, let's show you your point standings coming into this race. Lest there be any doubt that the 78 team was locked into the playoffs last week, Diego Yepes, second win on the season, fourth win of his career, and third win for that 78 team absolutely solidifies them into the playoffs, more than likely at this point in time into the number one seed where they currently sit. It also helped them to extend their points lead. As we take a look here, we will show you, as we have in weeks past, the current regular season standings as they look, leaving Watkins Glen. And I'm going to read off for you what the playoffs look like right now after last week's Watkins Glen race. Number one seed, obviously as mentioned, it goes to that 78 team. The other teams sitting in seeds 2 through 4, they've got the 2 wins on the season, the 19 team, the 95 team, and the 77 team. The 47 team right now sits in the 5th seed. They're the highest in the point standings with 1 victory. They are followed by the 93 team, the 8 team, the 0-1 team, and the 38 team. Last week, with a, well, not great run, but a decent enough run, the 6 team is now holding that 10th and final playoff position. But listen to the numbers and the amount of difference of points between that final playoff spot and those just outside the cut line. The 32 team, they're the first team out, but they're only 6 points back. 9 points back is the 31 team. 10 points back, both the 27 team and the 48 team. 11 points back, the 0-9 team. Those are going to be 5 interesting cars to watch here today, because I have the feeling, unless we end up getting some more multi-time winners here, or maybe a couple of first-time winners in these final 3 races, I think that 9th and 10th positions, especially in the playoffs, they're going to keep flip-flopping between about 6 or 7 drivers. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Now, there are 3 teams right now that could lock themselves up playoff spots if they get a second victory. Right now, they're quite a ways back to be able to point their way in with the other one-time winning teams. They would be the 11 team and the 15 team. They currently sit 51 points back each from the cutoff line, so that's a lot of ground to really make up in 3 weeks. It's possible, it's not improbable, but it is somewhat unlikely. I really think that these are 2 teams that really need to find victory lane here at least a second time before the end of the regular season. And then the one team that definitely has a win this season but needs a second one, if they're going to battle for that championship, it's got to be the 74 team at Electric Autosports. No questions asked. They're just too far back in the point standings. It is a must-win situation for them down the remainder of this regular season. There also are 4 teams we got to keep an eye on here today that could win their way into the playoffs with their first win on the season. Those 4 teams would be the 1 team out of Michael Norman Motorsports, they're 6th in overall points, the 0-3 team at S3 Motorsports, they're 7th in the overall standings, and then 10th and 11th respectively in points are the 65 team out of Evans Gardner Motorsports and the 55 team out of Gunther Motorsports. Right now, those 4 teams are running high enough in the point standings and ahead of the cut line that a victory would put them into a playoff position with the final 2 races on the regular season remaining at Bristol Dirt and Auto Club. Interestingly enough, one of those teams just mentioned, the 1 team, sits on the pole position with Michael Norman, multi-time winner here in the Duracell Cup Series, but still looking for his first win here of Season 5, and he's going to share row number 1 with the 17 of Mitchell Collins, another driver that has been to victory lane multiple times in his Duracell Cup Series career, actually as recent as last season, but he is still looking for his first checkered flag of Season 5 also, so some pretty wily veterans up there at the front of the field. It'll be interesting to see how it all goes down. We'll give you your starting lineup and everything in mere moments. We've got the command to fire up the engines coming up right after the singing of our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming,
Drivers, start your engines!
Pace car will lead the 29 car field off of pit lane, and they will begin pacing around this 2.5 mile speedway before eventually being turned loose. We gave you the front row, Michael Norman and Mitchell Collins, both looking for their first win on the season. Behind them, it's a couple of Camrys sharing row 2, Will Goss on the inside and rookie Pierce Crone on the outside. Alison Rodrigo and Alex Tanker, a couple of blue ovals. They'll be in row 3. Mike Tellier and Caleb Vogler, they share row 4. Row 5 with the former champion Ryan Acosta and Reggie Fogelman completing the top 10. Jacob Thibodeau and Alexander Rowe, they're back in row 6. Row 7 with Harrison Ponder and Andrew Gonzalez. Row 8 where we'll find Adam Garcia and Cole Deaver. Carson Grob and Colin Cropley, they're back in row 9 with former champ Jordan Lopez and Zachary Taylor completing the top 20. Row 11 is Riley Henry and Daniel Voiles. Row 12 with Jackie Halleck and Matthew Rodriguez. Benjamin Miles shares row 13 with the two-time winning rookie Roberto Crown Jr. James Shelley and Kat Batson, they're back in row 14, and Andrew Davis will bring up the rear of the field in the 29th position. 3 different unique corners here at Pocono, a wide sweeping turn 1. You just saw them make their way through the tunnel turn, a narrow but very high-speed corner. And then this turn down here is the difference maker. Turn 3, the final corner, very low banking, very high speed though. You've got to really have good throttle control, have a good braking zone. Not easy to do when you're stacked up double wide, potentially 3 wide here today at Pocono. This could be the trouble spot of the day. What turn 4? There is no turn 4, as out of turn 3, down the front straightaway, and into the restart zone. We're ready for the flagman to get these drivers going, and indeed, he's got that green flag waving. We're underway here today at the Tricky Triangle. Norman jumping from bottom to top, gonna block that outside line with Mitchell Collins. Pierce Crone will slot into 3rd. Goss and Tanker side by side for 4th. As they take it through the high-speed tunnel turn 2. And now for the first time, they're gonna experience turn 3. Let's see if they can all make it through. Up at the front they have, middle of the pack looks good too, double wide. They don't want to force it 3 wide, that's when it gets really sketchy. Adam Garcia's in the middle there. I don't know if they were 3 wide with him or not when they went through turn 3, but they all made it through, all made it safely, and Michael Norman leads the first lap of the day. Pierce Crone will now take 2nd from Mitchell Collins. Collins starting to drift back, now under fire from Will Goss, potentially for 3rd. Collins going to get a big push there down the Long Pond Straight, courtesy of Alex Tanker. So he'll hang on to the 3rd spot. Tanker, a little contact between himself and Will Goss right there. Goss got into his left rear quarter panel. That could have been dangerous. Goss had to back off as a result. Battle for the lead is on. Here comes Pierce Crone to the inside of Michael Norman for the top position. 8 car has not been to victory lane since the season opening Daytona 500 with Matt Haas. They've been up there in the point standings, inside the top 5 in the point standings pretty much the entirety of the season. They're 5th in points coming into this one, 64 points out of the overall points lead. And Pierce Crone did not have the preferred line going into turn 1. Norman did, swings around the outside. Mitchell Collins followed him. He'll try and move into 2nd. Not quite clear on the 8. But Norman is free and clear for the top position, at least for the time being. Pierce Crone sent it into the tunnel turn. Oh, we got a wreck in the back. Colin Cropley's been turned around. And Zachary Taylor's been collected up in as well in the 95. 3rd lap of the day will not be led by Michael Norman without the caution waving. Looks like a 2-car incident potentially there. Might have had a couple that got strafed in the process, but The only two drivers I saw back there getting their cars refired were Cropley in the 01 and Taylor in the 95. Pace car is going to pick up the field out of turn 1. Let's go back and see if we can find out exactly what happened there. Caught the tail end of it with our camera shot. Cropley getting hooked by somebody. We'll see if it was by the 95 or if someone else might have gotten him. Here's a look at it. Oh, like the 12. Jackie Halleck. Got a little loose there. Back end stepped out and swept up both Cropley and Taylor. Daniel Voiles able to skate through. Roberto Crown Jr. Not sure if Crown Jr. got a little bit of damage on the passenger side door or not. We'll see if we can get another camera angle here. We'll also give you another camera angle so you can see just how out of shape that 12 car was. Well, hopefully we'll get you a better camera shot. Watch the gray and blue Tenda Chevy there. Yeah, it drifts up the track. Gets hooked in the right rear by Taylor, and that sends him up into Cropley. Track gets blocked up there. Everybody fanning down as far as they can before hitting that infield grass. Ooh, it's hard to tell if Roberto Crown Jr. was involved or not. If he was, it was very, very minor contact. Not enough to even draw him to pit road, I don't think, to get any damage repaired. If he didn't get hit, it's great avoidance by him, Andrew Davis, Benjamin Miles. Daniel Voiles did a heck of a job there getting by on that outside line, too. See if we can get an onboard. Daniel Voiles got a pretty good look of all of this in the 47 cars, so let's go on board with the Jelly Belly Ford Mustang out of Lake Effect Autosport. You saw right there, Jackie Halleck just sent it in there way too hard. And Halleck got away from all that relatively unscathed, left behind some innocent victims. As pit road was open, and boy, we had a lot of takers. A lot of drivers hit the pit lane. I don't know if everyone did. It appears our race leader did not, Michael Norman. But it looks like maybe 4th place on back, maybe 5th place on back, all came down pit road. We'll wait for scoring update on that. But I believe the 1, 44, and 17, I believe they did not come down pit road. So we'll wait for official scoring of who came down pit road, who did not. Michael Norman feeling the track position is more important. They only completed about, well, 3 laps really on these Goodyears. I don't know if 3 laps is it's going to be that much of a difference. Fuel will be a difference, that's for certain. That extra 3 laps could be the difference between winning and running out by the end of this race. Doesn't look like we yet have an official word of just how many drivers came down pit road and how many drivers stayed out. What we can tell you is that nobody at this point in time is scored out of the race from the wreck that we just saw. Zachary Taylor has continued. Colin Cropley's continued as well. As a matter of fact, Colin Cropley, by last scoring, I believe, is in 16th place. Yeah, he is. So they did not spend a whole lot of time repairing that race car. Zachary Taylor, on the other hand, they did. He's going to be starting at the tail end of the field. But yeah, looks like everybody that was involved in the incident came down, got any repairs that needed to be done, and returned back to the racetrack. And, well, I thought Michael Norman stayed out, but nope. According to our telemetry, everyone came down pit road under this caution. So does that mean that everybody is of the assumption that we may not see another caution for the rest of the day? Taking the opportunity under caution, under pacing. And maybe, since we don't know the fuel window, I can't say this for absolute certainty, but maybe eliminating out a round of green flag pit stops near the tail end of this race. Who knows? Duracell Cup Series is very unpredictable. There's not a whole lot that we're able to guarantee you until a checkered flag waves. One thing we can guarantee you about here today is that we will have a different driver taking the checkered flag at Pocono Raceway. None of our 4 former winners are in the field here today. Carson Gum, Cody Lamas, Vince Almriego, and Jose Mills have all taken checkered flags here at Pocono, but none of them are taking part in today's event. So we are guaranteed a different Pocono winner in the Duracell Cup Series. Question is, who is it going to be? Let's give it the top 10 here, as we should have the lights out atop the pace car this time by, and get ready to turn them loose on lap 8 of 50. Michael Norman, the race leader. He has led every lap so far. Reggie Fogelman is second. Mitchell Collins third. Will Goss is fourth. Alex Tanker in fifth. Jordan Lopez 6th, Caleb Fogler 7th, Ryan Acosta in 8th, Allison Rodrigo 9th, and Andrew Gonzalez currently completes the top 10. Well, Andrew Davis, saw him avoid that wreck out of turn 2. Also had a very good pit stop here under caution. Started this race from 29th. He's already picked up 14 spots since then. He will restart from the 15th position. So, nice job of picking up positions in the early going after not having very good starting spot way back in traffic at the initial green. So a lot of questions right now. How far can these drivers go on what they've got in the tank? Will we see this thing go into a long green flag run, or will we see another caution flag? It's going to be interesting to see just exactly what side of the spectrum today's Pocono race falls into. I mean, that wreck we had at turn 2 could have been a lot worse. We've seen big incidents here at Pocono in the past. That one was a minor incident, and if we're lucky, maybe the only incident we'll see here today. Michael Norman, so far, has led all 6 laps. He'll lead the 7th lap here as he'll put lap 8 on the board, waiting for that pace car to make the left-hand dive to pit road. He'll lead the Dodge of Reggie Fogelman, the Ford of Mitchell Collins, and the Toyota of Will Goss, with his Chevrolet Camaro into the restart zone. And we are back underway here at Pocono Raceway. Will Goss making a jump there to the inside, but you can't pass to the inside before the start-finish line, or you will get penalized. Jordan Lopez knew that. He, as soon as he crossed the start-finish line, dives to the inside. That was, I believe, looking for 5th on Alex Tanker, but instead it might be 6th place battle between him and Caleb Vogler, as Lopez really bailed out of the throttle on entry. Yeah, he paid the price. Dropped him back to 7th. Mitchell Collins was looking for 2nd on Fogelman. Now going to battle for 3rd with Will Goss. Oh, man, just barely cleared himself across the nose of the DoorDash Toyota. And big hit! Andrew Gonzalez shot back into the racing field. He's stuck in the safer barrier. Caution is out. Deaver sliding. Matthew Rodriguez into Andrew Davis. This all happening from turn 2 down to turn 3. They're still wrecking. Voiles and Taylor. My gosh, that's got to be one of the hardest hits we've seen all season. And it was Andrew Gonzalez who took it. Alexander Rowe, the overall points leading 78 team. His car all crunched up. Look at pit road. It is littered with junked race cars. I see Deaver. There's Gonzalez front and center. Voiles into his stall. Rodriguez, Miles, Davis. Here comes Taylor in the 95. What was the speed on that 74 when he shot back across the racetrack? Holy cow. Maybe one of the most violent in terms of speed wrecks we have seen all season taking place here for our second caution of the day at Pocono. Let's go back and see what happened. We'll try and tally up everyone that was involved. I'm not even certain who it was that was hooking the 74 around. But it was the wreck that just kept on going. Alright, it appears here it's going to be Mike Tellier in the 55 who's going to hook the 74. Now, to be fair to Mike, right there, Alison Rodrigo kind of crowds Andrew Gonzalez down. Mike Tellier's got very little space to maneuver on the inside line. And watch the shot. Watch this. Oh my gosh. A car lodged into the outside wall. There's where Benjamin Miles got involved. That clicks up Daniel Voiles. And we will be taking several looks at this incident, which has already, by my last count, put half a dozen drivers in the garage area. I want to see, we're going to look at the impact again from another camera angle. I want to see just how fast the 74 was going when he hit the inside wall. Right now, about 165 miles per hour with the contact between himself and Tellier. Now let's see, when he makes the impact with the wall, he's at 145 miles per hour. Shoots back across the track while at 70 miles per hour. Clips the 93 of Andrew Davis. There's Miles. There's Voiles. Now, if we keep this shot, I don't know if this pans enough. Oh, I think Miles' car, after he had his hit, that car lost all power and he gets hit from behind by Alexander Rowe. Oh my gosh! Andrew Davis getting T-boned and up into the air after a powerful hit from Cole Deaver. Jacob Thibodeau and Zachary Taylor wrecking further up, and then Matthew Rodriguez up against the outside wall trying to avoid. There's where he gets into Davis. And then there is the 6, and there is the 95. It's the wreck that just wouldn't stop going. There's Deaver. There's Rowe, who ran to the back of Miles. Wow. Let's look at this again. See if we can look at the 6 of Jacob Thibodeau, how he was involved. Left side of your screen, there's the 74 shooting back across the track. There's where Miles gets it. Voiles. Watch the 78. Straight into the back of Benjamin Miles. And then Thibodeau here. There's the wreck with Davis. Oh, and then he gets Taylor. Taylor may have been trying to, well, Taylor might have been trying to get his car low out of the way. Thibodeau was racing back to the caution, and that's that turn 3 where the cars slide up, and he slid up into the 95, who in turn was coming down the track. So now Thibodeau's got some pretty good damage. Well, I've lost count. Maybe a dozen drivers involved in this one. Heavy-duty contact for a number of them. And final count, 7 drivers will be back in the garage area because of what we just saw there in those replays. Interesting strategy played out here while we were looking at those replays under pacing. We are still yet to get the 1 to green, but Roberto Crown Jr., the 2-time winner, did not come to pit lane here under this caution. Everybody else did. So Norman, who was the race leader, will be second behind Crown Jr. Lopez, Goss, and Garcia look like they're going to be the top 5. Officially, the drivers out of the race at this point in time are the 7 I mentioned. They are Daniel Voiles, Zachary Taylor, Andrew Davis, Matthew Rodriguez, Benjamin Miles, Cole Deaver, and Andrew Gonzalez. That is from descending order, 23rd down to 29th. So the 74 team, who needed a second win. The 15 team, who needed a second win. Well, doesn't look like that's going to be the case here today. 93 team. It's not a performance that they needed here today. I don't think they would necessarily fall outside of the playoff grid, but they could be pretty close to the cut line. The 19 team, They've been struggling the last couple of weeks, actually. They've got those 2 wins in the bank, so they are going to be in the playoffs, but they are losing ground with these poor performances to the points leading team, the 78 team, which, by the way, Alexander Rowe was not one of the drivers I mentioned out of the race. He's still on the lead lap, going to restart at the tail of the field in the 21st position, but they have removed the hood off that Starbucks coffee Toyota Camry, so he will more than likely be off the pace. I expect the same can be said for Jacob Thibodeau, who will restart in 22nd. Last car in the field and last car on the lead lap. That rear end damage, I think both those drivers going to be hurting aerodynamically. This is a track, especially with the long straightaways, that is very aerodynamic dependent. So both of those drivers, they will be looking for potentially more caution flags to come out, more tone-up race cars to be able to pick up spots and pick up positions and pick up points. You got 2 teams out of the race. The 19 and the 95 were 2-time winning teams this season. 47 team with Voiles out of the race. Highest team in the point standings with 1 victory. A couple of weeks ago, we saw Stephen Colon take the checkered flag to put that team in a playoff spot. 0-3 team, they're really struggling too. Jessica Shelton had a dead last finish last week at Watkins Glen. Cole Deaver, next to last finish of 28th here. That team is very quickly entering into the must-win situation. Well, they're already a must-win situation, but they're in must-need momentum right now more than anything. Ready to go back green here. Roberto Crown Jr. on older tires going to lead us back. Everybody else was on pit road. We'll see if track position is king for the 77 as Michael Norman takes a look to the inside. Jordan Lopez went down there as well. We may be 3 wide for the lead coming out of turn 1, leaning on each other. We're Norman and Crown Jr. I thought maybe Michael Norman was going to squeeze Roberto Crown Jr. into the wall off of turn 1, but Michael Norman says, that's my lead, I want it back, and he's going to take it going into the tunnel turn. Lopez looking for second. And he's got Adam Garcia, 3-time winner last season, right behind him in that Red Bull Ford Mustang. Norman gonna lead his 10th lap of the day, but a big run, a big push for Jordan Lopez. He's got help from Adam Garcia. Tandeming down the front straightaway. And Lopez got a little loose there. In the middle, 3 wide, but he'll stay alongside of Michael Norman. Maybe, nope, he lost the momentum. Norman might clear him before they get to turn 2. Former champ still doggedly on that inside. Slides it up the track just a little bit. Maybe a little contact to himself and Norman as Jackie Halleck into the wall back there. Took a hard shot with the right front, but he kept it going. I think we're still green. We are. We're still under the green flag, so near miss there for a potential 3rd caution of the day back in the tunnel turn as Lopez and Norman gonna drag race it back to the start finish line. Telemetry says it was Jordan Lopez who led that lap. His first lap lead of the day. Oh, this is bad back here. Cap Batson, Reggie Fogelman, Carson Grob, they were all not giving each other room into turn 1, but they managed to keep it in the right direction, incredibly enough. Jordan Lopez looking for his 2nd win on the season. The 38 team is 9th in the overall point standings as Garcia pushes up the track into Michael Norman in a battle for 2nd place. Carson Grob about to enter into this as well. He'll take it 3 wide going into turn 3. That's dangerous. Somehow they make it work though. And Norman, just like that, goes from 2nd back to around 5th. As Grob and Garcia will go side by side for the runner-up spot. Cap Batson taking it 3 wide now. That's going to be for 4th place, I think. Nope, not quite able to stay to the inside of Pierce Crone in the 8. Garcia might be able to use this momentum on the top side to get by Carson Grob for second place, and he is clear. So now he'll set his sights on Jordan Lopez. Going back to the situation I was talking about for the 38 team, they're 9th in the overall point standings. They have a victory, but they also are in the 9th seed as things stand right now in the playoffs. A second victory, and they would move up to the 3rd seed and automatically be locked in. Well, Thibodeau's car doesn't look the worse for wear. I was noticing cars towards the back end of the field. Looks like he is somewhat still in touch with the pack. Jackie Halleck, who we saw on the wall there through the tunnel turn that didn't bring out a caution, he's off the pace. And it looks like Colin Cropley and Alexander Rowe both way back there behind the rest of the field. So they are currently just in ride mode. Whoa! Did you see Roberto Crown Jr. back there? Those old tires coming back to haunt him now on this long run. He went up where no car has been today. And I think he got the wall out of turn 2. Pierce Crone and Kat Batson, they were making some contact as well out of the tunnel turn in what is a battle for 4th place. As Jordan Lopez trying to give as much dirty air to the nose of Adam Garcia as possible. That stops Garcia from getting a run on him, and in turn allows Kat Batson and company to maybe put the pressure on the 2 car. Carson Grob tried to do it, but man, he really had a bad turn 1. Dropped from what was a battle for 3rd, now back to a battle for 5th with Michael Norman. When he's going to push up the track into Norman there, opening up the door 3 wide potentially for Alex Tanker. As Pierce Crone tried to get a run there on Kat Batson for 3rd. Nothing doing. Rob up to 5th. Tanker looking to the inside for that spot now off of turn 3. We do not know exactly what the fuel window is for these drivers, how far they can make it. So we don't know exactly how many pit stops from here to the checkered flag they would have to make. We know at least 1. We don't know if they would have to make a second one. The one driver that might have to definitely make a second one would be the 77 of Roberto Crown Jr., who I'm assuming was expecting that we were going to see another caution right after we went green, but that has not happened, and since then, the 77 has dropped back now last time by, scored in the 15th position. And Lopez might be coming to pit road this time. He is indeed. Is this regularly scheduled for the 38? I'm not certain, but he is going to be coming down all by his lonesome. And he stacked him up on that inside line, so Adam Garcia led the lap over Kat Batson. Not going to be clear of her, though, going into turn 1 as we're 3 wide. Tanker on the bottom. Boy, that car did not look steady. Neither did Carson Grob's car in the middle. Pierce Crone on the outside is going to take advantage. He'll move into second place, and now, as he slingshot in front of Kat Batson and to the inside of Adam Garcia. Nope, not going to be able to do it. Ooh. 2 car looked a little loose there. Our race leader going into the tunnel turn. 09 of Caleb Vogler. It's been a very interesting last couple of weeks for the 09 team at S3 Motorsports, with Kyle Matthews picking up the victory at Martinsville, and then Stephen Pollard III followed it up with a DNF last week at Watkins Glen. So in the matter of a week, the 09 team went from in a playoff position to 11 points out. Maybe they can get the momentum back here. But Vogler, last time by, scored in 5th place. How about 3 wide for the lead? Kat Batson on the bottom. Pierce Crone in the middle. Top side prevails for Adam Garcia. If you're going to make them pass you, make them work for it. And that would be to give up the inside line and take the preferred lane on the top. guys are not giving each other a lot of room either. It's making me very nervous. Making me equally impressed that we have only had the caution come out twice today. And we have, right now, 19 drivers up in this lead pack. There's Jordan Lopez just now returning back to the track. Oh no, we're going to have a LePage incident. What the heck was Lopez doing, choosing that moment to come back out? Something is desperately wrong on that machine. I think he might be down a cylinder. It was an unscheduled pit stop, obviously, that drew him to pit road. He is off the lead lap now. And now he's up and into the wall. Something's broke. Something is broke on that car. I think the engine's gone. That car is not under power. That car is not under power anymore. Listen. There's nothing. That engine is expired. Can he get it back to pit road is the question, though. It's just now coming into turn 3, so I think he is going to be able to make it back. But barely. Man, that was... So he knew something was wrong. They sent him back out there, and it looks like the engine died as soon as he got back out on the racetrack. That has split the field up, that's for absolute certain. You've got 3 drivers that are running away with this thing now. Alex Tanker, Adam Garcia, and Pierce Crone. That's a ways back before you get to Reggie Fogelman in 4th. Kat Batson and Harrison Ponder right now battling for 5th. James Shelley right behind them. And now here comes the 77 to pit road. This is regularly scheduled. This much we know, because Roberto Crown Jr. had not come down pit road under the last caution. So we were expecting that. Michael Norman may have also come down pit road moments ago, as he's right now running almost a lap down. We'll check on that, see if indeed he made a pit stop or not. If he did, then that means that these drivers might not be too far out from making a pit stop here under green flag conditions. Doesn't look like Alex Tanker's coming to pit road yet, but Garcia is. So we are beginning some green flag pit stops. Michael Norman did indeed pit the lap prior. That's why we saw him as far back as we did. Garcia coming down to the attention of his crew. This could all be strategy now to try and manage a sequence that will get you to the end of this race. And it looks like we're definitely going to have at least one more pit stop before this race is over. Do we have 2? I'm not certain. 27 team there with Alex Tanker. Tanker, former winner this year, getting his first career win. I'm trying to remember where that was. I want to say it was at Texas. I think it was at Texas Motor Speedway. So subsequently, the 27 team is up in the conversation for a playoff position. Right now, they're on the outside looking in, 10 points out. But if Tanker is able to pick up his second career victory, then that would move them up into the number 3 seed behind the 19 and the 78. Same deal for Pierce Crone and that 8 team. They haven't been to victory lane since the season opening Daytona 500. Reggie Fogelman, the 44 team. They've got to have 2 victories between now and the end of the regular season. There's just no other way they can make it into the playoffs. Limited number of starts they've had this season. They were an upstart team about 5-6 weeks into the year. I mean, they're over 100 points behind the 74 team, the next highest in the point standings above them. So there's just no way outside of multiple victories here in the final 3 races that they can have a shot of make it into the playoffs, as Pierce Crone, Allison Rodrigo, Mike Tellier going to come down pit road this lap. We're not seeing mass migrations to pit road here, just a car or 2 every couple of laps. So that makes things even more interesting in terms of who's got the right strategy. Also interested to see here too if the 27 is being reeled in. These long straightaways, big opportunity for drivers to get tandemed up and draft. It looks like visibly Reggie Fogelman is closing in on the 27 of Alex Tanker. We may not get to find out because I think Tanker might be coming to pit road this time. And this time we're going to have a mass migration to pit road this lap. Tanker's going to bring that whole second group with him. Fogelman, Ponder, Cat Batson, James Shelley, Jackie Halleck. Like Mitchell Collins, Carson Grob in this mix. Caleb Fogler there. So who does the race lead cycle out to? Is it going to be the one of Michael Norman? Because I believe he was the one that was close to the race leaders when the cycle began. I don't think it's going to be him. Making contact there with Adam Garcia. I'm seeing drivers ahead of him that had already pitted. There's the 8. Might be the 8 car. Pierce Crone could be the one that this all cycles around to. Will Goss, Alison Rodrigo, Adam Garcia, Michael Norman back there in a tussle. Mike Tellier's there with Roberto Crown Jr. also. Here's the cars coming off pit road. He'll pass Ponder. Will Pierce Crone. He'll pass Reggie Fogelman. I don't think he's going to get up there to Tanker. He may not even get Fogelman here. He'll cross him to the inside. It looks like Tanker is going to still have the race lead when all is said and done. There's the pass completed for second place. We'll see what the gap is between the 27 and the 8. It'll take a lap or two for the tire temps to warm up and get that 27 completely up to speed. The 8's already been out for a few laps. And he's definitely got momentum on his side. As at the line this time, less than a second between the 27 and the 8. Believe that we have completely cycled through the pit stop, so let's give you the running order as we are now into the second half of this race. Alex Tanker is the leader. Pierce Crone in second. Third, Reggie Fogelman. Harrison Ponder fourth. James Shelley right now in fifth. Sixth is Kat Batson. She wants more to the inside of Shelley. Seventh is under contest. Will Goss had it. Michael Norman wants it. Oh, and we're going to have a wreck. Kat Batson around in front of the field. Collects Adam Garcia. Roberto Crown Jr.'s in it. Carson Grob, Mike Tellier collected also. And look out oncoming traffic because we got some slow cars trying to make their way down to the inside. Looks like we're all good in that regard. Tellier's coming to pit road as he got a big chunk of it. Grob is coming in as well. And there is the 77 of Roberto Crown Jr. all torn up and smoking. There's another car further back that I believe is also trying to make their way to pit road. Oh, maybe not. Maybe they've already teleported there. There's Garcia. He's having such a good run. So was Kat Batson. They were both up inside the top 10 after that cycle of pit stops. And now Kat's got rear end damage and Garcia's got damage just about everywhere. Well, I'm curious. I'm going to stay with these drivers just for a moment. I'm curious, do we come down pit road and top off the fuel tank? These drivers were on pit road anywhere from 3 to 5 laps ago, so I don't know why you'd come back down pit lane, but the field is starting to thin out as well. Carson Grob, Mike Tellier, and Roberto Crown Jr., who we saw come down pit lane, they've all gone back to the garage area. None of them taking the opportunity to maybe try and repair the cars and get them back out there. They would have more than likely stayed on the lead lap. I think they're coming back down. These guys were just at the attention of their crews no more than 5 laps ago, and they're coming back down here. We'll be getting ready for a restart with less than 20 to go as we go back and take a look at a replay of what happened. Second time we've had a big wreck, not nearly as big as the first one, but still a wreck nonetheless, off of turn number 2. And it started with the 39 of Cat Batson, who I believe made the contact with the one of Michael Norman. No, it was with the 31 of James Shelley. These drivers were on fresh tires too, so they may have been taking turn 2 a lot faster than they had originally been doing, and Michael Norman going to get a little bit of a piece of it there, and then Garcia trying to find some way low, goes high. Unfortunately, did not pick the right lane. There is Roberto Crown Jr. There's Carson Grob, shoots the 77 up into the air. Tellier, a big hit with the right side, and then also gets into the outside wall. And Roberto Crown Jr., who played strategy earlier on in this race, got the race lead. When everybody else came to pit road, stayed out. Well, this is not the end that he was looking for in that strategy, that's for certain. Let's take another look at it here. We'll take the pan shot down the back straightaway. They almost had this wreck avoided. But the 39, you watch the first initial contact that sends her into the wall. She almost has it straightened out. Right there, almost has it straightened out. But then, back into the car, goes into a slide. Oh, man, Garcia almost had it avoided. And then look at the shot he's going to take from Roberto Crown Jr. And then watch that 77. Rear tires leave the ground after a big hit from behind by Carson Grob. Mike Tellier fishtailing down the straight, trying to gather that thing back up. Caleb Vogler in the 09. Boy, he had a pretty good look at that, didn't he? Matter of fact, let's take an onboard with him. I think he'll give us a pretty good view of what took place up ahead of him. We may not see the initial cause, but we'll certainly see the smoke from it. I'll listen to him feather the throttle through there. And then creeps his way around. 65 of Carson Grob. Nice job there by Caleb Vogler in the 09. And as a result, he's going to be up inside of the top 5, it looks like, here for this upcoming restart. Wow, look who our race leader is. Alexander Rowe, hoodless and all, is the race leader. He did not come to pit road. Everybody else did. Is this really going to be the car that's leading us back to green? This could be one of the sketchiest restarts we've had in the last few weeks. So Grob, Tellier, and Crown Jr. are out of the race. That leaves us with 17 drivers running, all 17 currently on the lead lap. Got a storyline to follow up on here. We saw the incident there with Jordan Lopez. Now, the reason that Jordan Lopez was slow on the racetrack and we heard nothing out of the race car, that car was running with no fuel pressure on the 38. We're also getting a report Colin Cropley had the same thing happen to him the lap prior. Apparently what happened to both of those machines, they came down pit lane for what was regularly scheduled stops, and they missed their pit signs. And we talk about how long a distance is around this racetrack, 2.5 miles, the same length as Daytona. And that is a lot to ask for a car that's running on fumes to make it back around, and that's why we saw Lopez slow on the backstretch and with no sound coming out from underneath that machine. So he and Colin Cropley out of the race. They had to have safety vehicles come out and tow them into the infield. Amazingly, we were able to do that all and still stay under the green, but Lopez will finish 21st and Cropley will finish 22nd. That brings our total of drivers out of the race here today to 12. Grob, Tellier, Roberto Crown Jr., Lopez, Cropley, Voiles, Zachary Taylor, Andrew Davis, Rodriguez, Miles, Deaver, and Gonzalez. All back behind the wall here with now less than 20 to go, closing in on 15 laps to go. Lap leaders so far today: 10 laps led, most today, by Michael Norman. 8 laps have been led by Alex Tanker. 5 laps led by Jordan Lopez, but he's back in the garage area now. 4 laps led by Adam Garcia. 3 led by Roberto Crown Jr. 2 led by our current leader, Alexander Rowe. He'll more than likely lead a third here, coming back to the start-finish line, but that may be it, as I don't think that car is up to speed. And what's got to be going through the mind of Alex Tanker here of just how to approach this restart, because you cannot pass the 78 to the inside before the start-finish line. At the same time, you don't want the 44 of Fogelman to jump out on you before you get a chance to jump out on the 78. You don't want to get pinned behind. Harrison Ponder going to restart in the 4th position, with Caleb Vogler in 5th. Then it's Thibodeau, Crone, Rodrigo, Henry, who we haven't talked about really at all today. What a quiet, solid day for Riley Henry in that 99. And then pole sitter Michael Norman completes the top 10. Green flag back in the air. Tanker, how long does he wait? Now he'll jump to the inside. Fogelman went down there with him. Will he think about 3 wide here into turn 1? Nope, he'll stay in line behind the Geico Ford Mustang. Vogler's going to follow into 3rd. That outside line's going to get held up. They got to find a way to get around the 78 and quickly. Harrison Ponder now stepping out to the bottom on Alexander Rowe. Fogelman looking for the lead on Alex Tanker through the tunnel turn. Pushes up the track a little bit there. Caleb Vogler trying to figure out which lane he wants. He'll stay up on the top side for now, but he's got Pierce Crone right behind him as Fogelman drives it deep into turn 3. Nice solid line there for Tanker, though. Back to the throttle, and he will clear off of turn 3 back to the start-finish line. That's about as perfect a turn 3 you can have here at Pocono, what Tanker did just then. Michael Norman. He was looking top side on Riley Henry, who's got a little bit of hood damage you can see there on the Dollar General Ford. That little bit of a buckle may not seem like much, but with these long straights, you want to have the car as aerodynamically sound as possible. Fogelman was looking for the lead on Tanker. He's now tucked back in line in 2nd. Vogler in 3rd. Pierce Crone currently riding in 4th. The battle is back on for 5th. Norman's going to try the bottom now on Riley Henry, and looks like he's going to clear for the spot. 3 wide here into turn 3. Jackie Halleck up the middle. Will Goss on the bottom. Harrison Ponder on the top. Looks like the spot's going to go to Halleck. Saw Jackie Halleck up and into the wall there in the tunnel turn back during that green flag run. Wondered if that was going to affect the car for the remainder of this race. Apparently, at this point in time, the answer is no. Reggie Fogelman really loose there, trying to make the move on the inside of Alex Tanker for the lead. That cost him not only the lead, but 2nd place. Vogler goes around for the runner-up spot. These are 2 cars right here. The victory for either one of them would lock them up spots in the playoffs. They've already been to victory lane. Both. Oh, Collins! Off the nose of Harrison Ponder, he collects a Brian Acosta, Cap Batson, and Thibodeau clobbers him in the 6th. Caution's gonna fly for the 4th time today. Jacob Thibodeau. Big shot there with the right front of his Steak and Shake Camaro. His day is more than likely over. Kat Batson coming down as she took a shot into the 17 as well, and there is the aforementioned Collins also heading down pit road. 3rd, make that 4th caution of the day here at Pocono. And we will get ourselves a restart with less than 15 to go when we eventually go back green. Let's go back and see exactly what happened there. First car I saw out of shape was the 17 of Mitchell Collins. We'll see who the offender was that got him in the right rear. Appears to be the 48 of Harrison Ponder. To be fair, though, Collins drove it really deep there into the tunnel turn. Harrison Ponder was trying to turn mid-corner to make contact, and probably we would have been okay if Collins had punched the throttle again, but he stayed on the brakes. Gets a big hit from behind by Ryan Acosta in the 32. Then there's the shot from Cat Batson, and right there, the hit by Jacob Thibodeau shears the right front off of his machine. And that has put both Collins and Thibodeau back in the garage area. So, we talked about at the top of the program, Pocono goes one of two ways. Either it's a survival fest with a lot of beat up and mangled race cars and a lot of cautions flying, or it's a strategy race. And in terms of fuel strategy, we've seen a little bit of both here today with that long green flag run and now 4 cautions. Alex Tanker is coming down pit road in the 27. This appears to be a regularly scheduled stop for him. It makes me wonder if potentially could be concerned about making it on fuel. Remember, he spent most of that last run out in front. It's not a super speedway here, but it is a long racetrack, and we talk about aerodynamics. Out in front in that clean air, you do use up quite a bit of fuel, so that might be why they came down, topped him off. He gave up the race lead to do so. So we'll see if that pans out for him. A couple of others came down pit road there. Ryan Acosta, they're repairing that car after he was involved in that last incident. Same for Cat Batson. Adam Garcia was also on pit lane, and Caleb Fogler is going to be the leader when we get back to it. Reggie Fogelman in second, Pierce Crone third, Michael Norman fourth, and Riley Henry completes top 5. Then you've got Jackie Halleck in 6th, 7th Will Goss, Alison Rodrigo, Harrison Ponder, James Shelley. That is your top 10. See if we get the lights out this time by. We should for the 1 to green. Does anybody else make maybe a last-minute dive onto pit road here to top off the fuel tank? Nope, that's not going to be the case. Kind of like that strategy there by Alex Tanker. Granted, he could have thrown away a chance of winning this race if he was able to make it on fuel, but right now we've only got 15 cars on the racetrack. And the 27 team, while they want that second victory to be able to solidify themselves in the playoffs, they also don't want to shoot themselves in the foot and lose out on the opportunity they have of being only 10 points back from the final playoff position to maybe point their way in. So I like the call there to bring him down pit road, make absolutely certain that thing can reach the conclusion. Everybody else, though, could be some question marks. We'll wait and see. Lights are not out atop the pace car, so we have not been given the 1 to green signal. In that case, we're going to step aside for a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back here for the finish of today's race from Pocono Raceway. Caleb Fogler is your current leader at the Tricky Triangle. Welcome back to live coverage of the 24th race of the 5th season of the NNSCRA Duracell Cup Series from Pocono. We're getting ready for our 10 to go restart. Caleb Fogler, your race leader. 15 cars remain of the 29 that started this race. All 15 on the lead lap, but should we have any lap machines from now to the checkered flag, since we are within the 10 to go realm, we will have no double file restarts with lap cars on the inside line. It will be all single file with the lap machines inverted with the lead lap cars. Getting ready for our 4th restart of the day. Caution flag is blown 4 times for a total of 16 laps. We had ourselves a long green flag run, which we saw an entire completion of green flag pit stops. Been a little bit of everything here today at Pocono, and now we're getting ready to find out how this is going to end off. Fogler, the race leader. Fogelman in 2nd. And Pierce Crone, Michael Norman, Riley Henry. That's your top 5. They're followed by Halleck, Goss, Rodrigo, Ponder, and Shelley. The top 10. The remaining drivers in the field, Alex Tanker, Adam Garcia, Kat Batson, Alexander Rowe, and Ryan Acosta, as the green flag flies once more here at Pocono Raceway. Battle for third, battle for sixth, battle for eighth, but nothing for the race lead at this point in time. As Reggie Fogelman stays in line with Caleb Fogler, the 09 out of S3 Motorsports. Now he'll look to make a move down here into turn 2. Pushes up the track, big time contact as they lean on each other off the corner. Into turn 3, preferred line goes to the 09, but Fogelman's not giving up on the bottom. He's going to stay alongside of him down the front straightaway. Meanwhile, behind them, double wide between Riley Henry in the 99, Pierce Crone in the 8. Jackie Halleck is now up inside of the top 5 and 5th, as Fogelman's going to go to the lead. Big push from Riley Henry. Ooh, and maybe a little too much of a push as he did scrape the wall off of turn 1. James Shelley was a little high off of turn 1 as well, may have brushed the outside wall. Riley Henry definitely drove into the driver's side door of the 44, trying to go for the race lead. Some hungry rookies up here at the front. As a matter of fact, you've got nothing but rookies up here in the top 7 positions. You got to go all the way back to Michael Norman before you get to a driver that is a veteran. Now, Will Goss there in the 11 also. That lap was led by Fogelman, but I'm not sure if he'll lead the next one. Ooh, Will Goss, very shallow entry there into turn 1. As he slides up into Jackie Halleck. He might have had his left sides in the grass. He was that far down. Can Henry drive it in deep into turn 2 here again? He did it before the last lap. Will he be brave this time? Yes, he will. Pushes the 44 up the track, almost to the wall. These guys here in the closing stage, they're not afraid to make a little contact. Dead even off of turn 3. All comes down to who has who for draft, and Fogler stays up top with Fogelman. So that is not going to help Riley Henry on the bottom. Everybody's up there towards the outside wall. Henry's not going away. He's going to drive it in deep into turn 1. Oh, he'll pay the price, though. Got really loose there through the center. Fogelman's going to go back to the top spot. Fogler is going to clear for second. Now does he maybe try to the inside here going into turn 2? Not this time. Almost some contact there between Pierce Crone and Riley Henry. They were 3 wide with Jackie Halleck through the tunnel turn for second place. Look at the defensive line there by Fogelman, as Fogler showed the nose into turn 3, but nothing doing. We have 11 cars up in this lead pack with a shot of winning this race. And Reggie Fogelman, in his limited number of starts, is trying to put Dodge in victory lane for the first time this season. It's the only Dodge in the field. He's got the clean air as well. Should bear in mind also, though, that the 27 of Alex Tanker came to pit road under the last caution to top off the fuel tank. Nobody else did. So if Fogelman was questionable on whether he could make it on fuel, you got to wonder if being out in front this long is a detriment to him or not. Second place battle is on between Pierce Crone and Caleb Fogler. Fogler should have the preferred exit here out of turn 3. He's going to have Will Goss behind him in the 11. Riley Henry behind the 8 of Pierce Crone. Now he steps out of line 3 wide. So that'll be 3 wide probably for third. Fogler should be clear of this going into turn 1. Well, not quite. We're almost 4 wide. Contact made, and there they go into the wall. Fogler, Pierce Crone, and Will Goss. Caution is out again. 5th time today the caution flag will fly, and now the question is, will we have enough laps to be able to get back green? I'm not certain. Here's the battle for second between Tanker and Norman. Riley Henry in that vicinity as well, but it might be between the 27 and the 1 here through turn 3. Right now, this is actually a battle for who might get the first shot. Reggie Fogelman, if we do get a restart. If we get a restart, it's probably going to be with 1 lap to go. It will probably be a 1-lap shootout. Boy, 3 drivers laying it all on the line there. It was almost 4 wide going into turn 1. Caleb Vogler, Will Goss, Pierce Crone. And it didn't work out for any of them. Let's go back and look at what happened. It was a 4-wide battle for, I believe, 2nd place. Riley Henry was on the inside. 1 lane up was Pierce Crone, another lane up was Will Goss, and watch right here, it looks like the door opens for Will to try and stick it 4 wide. And when he does that, Pierce Crone slides up the racetrack into him. And then as the 8 gets hooked, he slides up into the left rear quarter panel of the 09 of Fogler, sending them all into the wall. Boy, it's amazing that through turn 1, that so many drivers are able to get down to the inside. I believe Allison Rodrigo in the 21 went down below the yellow line to the apron to be able to avoid the incident. Let's look at another camera angle here. As a matter of fact, I'm curious to see if that was an official 4 wide or if that was still just 3 wide. Let's watch from the helicopter cam. If the 11 gets his right front to the inside of the 09's left rear, then that is 4 wide. Nope, I don't think that was 4 wide. It looked like 4 wide from that one angle, but I think that it was an attempt at 4 wide, but never actually was a 4 wide formation. And this gives you an idea of how far drivers had to go down there to avoid. I mean, watch this as we take the onboard with Michael Norman. He was battling before this happened with Allison Rodrigo for what I believe was 8th place. And before he knows it, he is up battling with Alex Tanker for 2nd. Let's ride on board with the PlayStation 5 Chevrolet. You see the 99 loses momentum, and Michael Norman all of a sudden is up into the runner-up spot. Alex Tanker behind him was running back, I believe, like in the 9th or 10th position, and he all of a sudden was up there battling for 2nd place with Norman. So that's why you've got to be in the right place at the right time, and usually don't lift. Keep that momentum going in the right direction. Well, if there's any good news to come out of that incident, it is that none of the 3 drivers involved there, Will Goss, Caleb Vogler, or Pierce Crone, have gone to the garage area. As a matter of fact, I don't believe any of them have even come to pit road, which that could be an indication to me that this race is going to end under the caution. If we're going to go back green, we've got to have the lights out this time. I think this race is ending under yellow, and if that's the case, then one of maybe the most remarkable victories of the season is about to take place. Caution lights are still on, and this race is going to be over. This race will end under yellow, and Reggie Fogelman, with his limited number of starts, is going to put Dodge in victory lane for the first time this season. 4 Racing Enterprises formulated up about 6-7 weeks into the season. They brought on 3 rookies in Fogelman, Chris Washer, and Daniel Silla. Every week, only 1 Dodge Challenger is fielded. The odds are against them each and every race. And here today, it's going to be a Cinderella story for that 44. I'll tell you what, we're going to have another storyline to build off of after today for the final 2 races. Remember I mentioned the only way the 44 car could even hope to be in the playoffs is if they picked up 2 victories in the last 3 weeks of the regular season? They're halfway there. Provided Fogelman comes around and takes the checkered flag, but they'll be halfway there. That's amazing. And if I'm not mistaken, with Fogelman, if he closes out the deal here, then Dodge will have won a race in every single Duracell Cup Series season, from Season 1 to Season 5. Zach Rogers and Ryan Brommer, they made sure in the first 4 seasons that Dodge would find victory lane at least once. This is amazing. This is a defy the odds type of victory here. And Reggie Fogelman, if I'm not mistaken, was the first driver to debut the 44 back at, I want to say it was it Michigan? It was a big speedway. I remember that. I think it might have been at Michigan. And he had a good run. He finished inside the top 10, if not the top 5, in his season debut. So he, right out of the gate, was turning heads with his talent. And here today, he is definitely going to be turning a lot of heads. As there you see, the white flag was hanging over the flag stand. The lights are still on atop the pace car. And what have the emotions got to be inside of the cockpit of that 44 Switch Dodge Challenger right now? Reggie Fogelman realizing that he is less than 2.5 miles away from picking up his first career victory here in the Duracell Cup Series. We've had a lot of first-time winners here this season. Stephen Colon, William Micros, Roberto Crown Jr., Alex Tanker. I mean, there's been a lot of them that have gotten their first wins of their career. But this one right here might be the underdog story of the season. And now the pressure here for Reggie Fogelman is going to be, he's going to have to sit on the sidelines and watch his 2 teammates, Chris Washer and Daniel Silla, try and build off this performance and get the second win during the regular season in the final 2 races. Next week, it's going to be Daniel Silla taking over the driving duties at Bristol Dirt, and then Chris Washer will have the reins in the regular season finale in 2 weeks' time at Auto Club. But how about these drivers and some of these guys, the finishes they're going to get as well? Michael Norman, that team, if they can just find victory lane, they're into the playoffs. Another solid outing for them. They'll remain the highest team in the point standings without a victory. Season second. 2017 there, Alex Tanker, that call to come to pit road, top off the fuel tank, allows him to be able to get a podium finish in 3rd. They're trying to make their way up into the playoffs points-wise, as they've already got a win. Riley Henry, great run for him today in 4th. Harrison Ponder's going to bring it home in 5th. That's another team. The 48 team was 10 points out. But it is Reggie Fogelman today who takes the checkered flag at Pocono. His first career win. In, if my calculations are correct, his 4th career start in the Duracell Cup Series. It's either his 3rd or his 4th, and I believe it's his 4th. What a job for him today. What a day for him. What a day for 4 Racing Enterprises. What a day for Dodge. We talked about last week how the Toyotas came into this season very outnumbered, vastly outnumbered by the Chevys and Fords. Well, what about Dodge? There wasn't even a Dodge in the field at Daytona. You had to wait a few weeks before a Dodge was even fielded. And I'm not very good at math. I don't know what the percentage is in a 1 in 29 chance each week of a Dodge taking the checkered flag. But whatever the odds are, doesn't matter anymore. The odds have been shattered here today. And Reggie Fogelman will be heading to victory lane for the first time in his Duracell Cup Series career. That is unbelievable. Let's look at the finishing results, shall we? We gave you your top 5. Very important top 5 finishes for the 27 and the 48, because both those teams were 10 points behind the cut line coming into this race, and a couple of teams that were down above the cut line, they did not get the finishes they were looking for today, so a lot of shuffling could take place down in that area. Allison Rodrigo, great run there for the 21 car as he brings home in 6th. James Shelley in 7th. 31 team was, 9 points back, so that's another team we got to keep an eye on. Jackie Halleck will bring it home with a solid outing of 8th. Alexander Rowe in 9th. I mean, that car had no hood. The 78 team, they are fighters. Had the win last week with Diego Yepes, 3-time winning team, and Alexander Rowe brings a wounded machine home inside the top 10. They will still continue to grow their points lead. I don't know. Do we give them the regular season championship now? We might need to. Adam Garcia, now another good run there for the 2 team. He'll bring it home in 10th. So if we look at some of these teams here, the 1 team, the 2 team. I mean, these are teams. All they need is a victory, and they could be in that playoff conversation. Pierce Crone brings home in 11th. Will Goss in 12th. Now, that team was 51 points back. They still got a lot of work to do, but that's a step in the right direction. Obviously, they still need that victory, I think. But if they are a long shot to point their way in, at least they finished up inside the top 15. Caleb Vogler there in 13th. You know that Crone, Goss, and Vogler, they probably want turn 1 back. Might not have made that 3-wide move, but still, credit them for trying. Ryan Acosta was off the pace, but he's going to bring it home in 14th. 32 team was only 6 points out of the cut line. And then Kat Batson was the last car to finish in the 15th position. Now the driver, or the team that was the cutoff line coming into this race, was the 6th team. Jacob Thibodeau finishes in the 16th position, so the highest of all the drivers that did not reach the conclusion. So I'm not certain if the 6th team is going to lose that final playoff position going into next week, or if they still are holding on to it. We'll wait and see. Mitchell Collins is going to get 17th. The rest of these drivers all out of the race, so we'll just run down the list. Carson Grubb, Mike Telly, Roberto Crown Jr., Jordan Lopez, Colin Cropley, Daniel Voiles, Zachary Taylor, Andrew Davis, Matthew Rodriguez, Benjamin Miles, Cole Deaver, and Andrew Gonzalez, all out of the race. 29 drivers started, 5 yellows here today for 21 laps. Left us with 15 drivers to finish this race out. Unfortunately, the race ended under caution, but it was fortunate for one Reggie Fogelman picking up his first career win here in the Duracell Cup Series. Congratulations to him. Thank you, everybody that tuned into today's race. A long one here today from Pocono. But, man, we're getting down to the end of the regular season. We got these endurance races. These guys are really having to earn it now. We've got 2 doozies to finish out the regular season. Bristol Dirt next week, and then this regular season finale at Auto Club. Hope you guys will join us for those. If you guys enjoyed today's race, though, be sure to give this video a like. Subscribe to become part of the crew today. Be sure to your full finish results. You'll see what your point standings look like heading into the pre-race show next week at Bristol Dirt. And until then, I've been Seth Cole. Thanks for tuning in. Congratulations to Reggie Fogelman on the victory here at Pocono. You've been watching another broadcast courtesy of the NNSCRA, offline racing at its best.